So you mentioned that you support people in stopping smoking. How does that work?
Okay, that's a very good question, Ingrid. A lot of people want to know that. In fact, people who want to stop smoking often will pick up the phone to me and ask that very question. How does it work? What does it do? Is it magic? Well, what I do is I use a program which is like a one session stop smoking, and from that I will use hypnotherapy or hypnotherapeutic language with a lot of positive suggestions about how you can do this, how you can achieve it. And I will spend probably about 20 to 30 minutes giving you these positive suggestions. I'll also find out before I give you the positive suggestions, you know, what your reasons are for stopping smoking, because everybody has different reasons and we have to tie those in. So we put those in and we give you the positive suggestions, and if you listen to them enough times, and I will repeat them again and again and again, they slowly drum in and they become very powerful, very potent, and will really support you in becoming a non-smoker.
So how long is the session?
The session is about an hour long because I need to speak to you and find out a little bit about yourself, get a little bit about history, and then from there we'll tailor it exactly to your requirements, exactly to why you want to stop smoking, and then the actual hypnotherapy element will be about 20 minutes to 30 minutes, something like that.
Can you give us some examples of success stories that people have had through stop smoking?
Yeah, success stories. I've had people who've been smoking for 30 or 40 years and have been smoking about 60 a day. And you'd think that they're a hopeless case, but you know, they come along to see me, we talk about why they smoke. I think that's really important. I try and debunk a lot of their myths. And when you do that, when you really look at the reason behind why people smoke, and then get them to understand that basically they're falsehoods, they're rubbish, they're lies that we come to believe in. And I used to believe that as a smoker. So, you know, I'm not putting people down, but when you, in a correct way, make them understand why they're smoking and everything within their mindset that seems to try and encourage it, then with that they can help to dismantle all of those negative messages, and they can go forward with a much more positive outlook, which just makes them want to be a non-smoker. Listen, the good thing about non-smoking, people call it giving up. You're not giving up anything, you're gaining. So let's forget the word give up. You don't give up. You're gaining so much by being a non-smoker.
Fantastic. So you also mentioned you support people in regards to weight loss. How would that process work?
Weight loss is a 6-session process, and what we do is I work through a body called hypnodieting, and I use their approach. I've been part and parcel of creating the hypnodieting program, and hypnodieting has people come in. We look at really still enjoying food, but we look at a different relationship with food, okay? And we look at the mindset that has interfered with why you eat. A lot of people will eat not because they're hungry, but they eat to cover things up. You know, maybe there's an emotional problem, and food is a substitute for this. So we'll look at the things that are interfering with your life and that are connected to food. If we take those things away, if we teach people a little bit about habits and why they eat foods, and a little bit about good nutrition, and also about good exercise, then they will naturally just fall into the right routine. Again, I don't do anything to do with dieting. I don't believe in dieting. You go on a lifestyle diet, but it's not dieting. Dieting is not the right word. So hypnodieting is the non-diet diet program. We're using hypnosis, and you are going to enjoy a new diet, a new style of diet, but you're not going to diet. What you eat at the beginning of the program and at the end of the program is what you're going to continue eating for the rest of your life. So it's not about deprivation or sacrifice. That isn't right. Just good, healthy living and eating.
Is anyone accessible to the hypnodieting program, or is there criteria?
Okay, no, everyone's accessible as long as they want it. You know, people can self-sabotage anything. So I'm not in charge of a human being. It's that old adage, isn't it? You can take the horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Now, you know, I can show you many, many routes as to how to get there, but it's your responsibility to put in the work and to get there. So I'll give you the answers, but you know, some effort's got to come from you, but you will have the answers.
Can you give us some success stories that people that have maybe come in and been excessively overweight?
Yeah. Success stories there. There's one person in particular I can think of who came in, and I did say we're going to go through a 6-session program. She just got in the habit of eating chocolate at the wrong time, biscuits. Whenever the pressure's built up in her life, that's what she'd do. She'd sort of raid the cupboard and she'd go and buy this sort of stuff, comfort food, let's call it. And she'd been doing this for years and years and years, and she'd sort of yo-yo. And she'd maybe only put, 1 stone on, something like that, which is still quite a bit, but it wasn't a huge amount. So she'd sort of yo-yo up and down, come down to the right level. A year later, she'd sort of sneak up again and then come down to the right level. Then she was darting. She then used to restrict to come down to the right level, then build up again. So when she came to see me, I said, well, we'll do this 6-session program. And she said, fine, I'm game for that. Actually, after 1 session, she came back and she said, this is amazing, even just after the first session. And we did go through the rest of the program because she wanted to, but she said, I've got it from the word go. I really get it. I really understand it. And as far as dieting, she's never come back to see me again. She's come back to me for other things, so I know that it's still working. That was 10 years ago that she first saw me, and I last saw her last year. So in 10 years, she's maintained it.
And do you assist people with gaining weight? Some people that are maybe underweight, anorexic, can you assist them with gaining weight?
Yeah, gaining weight in terms of, there's 2 things. If you're talking about anorexia, that is completely different. And yes, I do deal with anorexia, but I always think eating disorders, I liken them to addictions. You know, a lot of people try and sort of put logic into people's minds with eating disorders, but you have to be very careful. It's a very specialist subject. It's very enjoyable because the rewards of getting somebody away from an eating disorder are great. But I use a lot of cognitive behavioural therapy along with that, and then that's a specialist subject. But in terms of just gaining weight, if you don't have an eating disorder, sure, you know, people can learn to eat a little bit more, but maybe their metabolisms are quite fast, and you know, they're just lean, and that's the way their body is. You know, I think there's a great range of what's the right size. I don't believe, you know, people should be just a size 8 or a size 10. I think given a person and their lifestyle and their body build, if you like, you know, there is a range of what is right, and you can still be healthy within a good range. But we all know that, you know, that you can then be too overweight or perhaps too underweight. So yes, if somebody's just underweight because maybe they're lazy, they can't be bothered to eat, they run around too much, maybe you don't teach them to eat more food, you just teach them to have a better lifestyle, and that will probably bring in, you know, the right sort of diet, you know, that would incorporate eating the right amounts and then putting on the weight that they wanted to put on.
Perfect. You also mentioned you assist businesses in coaching, personal life coaching. Can you explain more about how that process works? Okay,
yes. Business coaching. Well, you know, businesses want their pound of flesh, let's face it. You know, we're not here in UK or anywhere else in the world just to be nice to people. So you're employed by a company to be productive so that the company can make profit. And I think we have to accept that. But having said that, you know, we can treat people decently, that's important, and you know, we can treat people with respect. But a lot of people can really benefit from gaining business development skills. And so often it's just a case of goal setting. You know, people are just chaotic. And maybe if they define their goals and got them in the right order, just that one small thing would enable them to get where they wanted to. But sometimes it's a little bit more than that. You know, sometimes they need motivation and stimulation. So we can use hypnotherapy, we can use NLP techniques and things like that to really get somebody going, to get them G'd up, to get them positive and really wanting to work and wanting to produce the results. And I think, you know, if you're with the right company, if you produce better results, increased results, you'll get an increased remuneration. So, you know, it's not just about working to help the employer. Doing this should help the employee too, because it should benefit them in getting a better pay packet, getting promotions, maybe even moving to another company, or you know, being more capable within that company and steering themselves into another section of the company. There's so much you can do with business motivation and presentations. That is just a huge fear, isn't it, for so many people. And I will run effective presentation courses to allow people to be able to get up there and stand up and be able to confidently put themselves forward in a way that their mind is clear whilst they're talking. You know, so many people say when they have the problems with presentations that they find that their voice will quiver and the mind just goes blank. There's a reason for this. They're entering the fight or flight response. And when you go into fight or flight response, you know, your conscious mind shuts down and your subconscious takes over. So you're just sort of operating as if there's a tiger there and you've got to escape. And what we need to do is we show people how to calm themselves down. Wonderful little tricks, calming yourself down, putting in some positive hypnotherapy suggestions, using some NLP techniques to get yourself calm, to move out of the fight or flight situation, to breathe properly, to stand properly in a commanding position. Such simple things, but when you put them all together, I can guarantee I can make anybody a very confident speaker or presenter.
In terms of, I sometimes find it difficult at work dealing with someone that is slightly aggressive or a dominant figure.
Okay.
And I feel like my confidence can sometimes be lacking. Can you assist someone if they're suffering from something like that?
Yeah, this can be very common, can't it? In any workplace, you know, there are sometimes very domineering personalities, and they can sometimes put a shadow over people, or you know, create anxiety or fear within that person. I think the thing is, when you're doing that, what you're going to do is build up confidence within a person. Build up self-esteem, build up ego. Not to the extent that you're sort of, you know, have a super ego and you go out with a head the size of a building. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about calm, comfortable confidence. And you know, true confidence is a very quiet thing. It doesn't have to be shouted about. A truly confident person is not the brash person you see in the party saying, I can do this and I can do that. The truly confident person is calm and will reply to questions, but just exudes this very comfortable, calm, positive air. And when people come to me and they want more confidence and they want to learn how to deal with people, with difficult people, you can't really change that person that you're having to deal with, but you can change you. So I get you to feel good about yourself. When you feel good about yourself and when you feel grounded, you will feel comfortable and confident about handling that other person. It's amazing. You will just change completely because it's your life and it's that person's problem. Whereas before you were absorbing that person's problem. But once you're confident, once you're comfortable, then you don't take that problem in anymore, and the problem's left with that person.